What more does Wemby need to do to get that DPOY?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the Cybertron Springs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great start to your work day. As always, we are part of the Locked On Spurs Locked On Network, excuse me. You can find us everywhere on YouTube. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app. The list goes on and on. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. So yeah, happy Monday, everybody. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs. So what are we talking about today? We're going to go over some quick Spurs news and notes that you may have missed. Then bring in our guest, James Pledger of San Antonio Sports Star. We're going to be asking, what more does Wemby need to do to prove that he is worthy of getting that Defensive Player of the Year, and then discuss some Locked On Spurs comments you guys are leaving at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. By the way, go there right now and subscribe. So here's some Spurs news and notes you may have missed. Hey, congratulations to Spurs Trey Jones. He's been named a finalist for NBA Sportsmanship of the Year. So yeah, kudos to him. He definitely deserves it. I think rarely, picks up texts, if not at all. He already probably never been ejected from a game. Always there, willing to make his team better. Talked about how he's willing to be a leader on the court for the Spurs and take that role this whole season. Look, he was a pro when he was coming off the bench to start the season. Remember the whole Sohan experiment? So yeah, all in all, well-deserving nomination. Hopefully he'll win it. I've had many chances to talk with him throughout the whole season. Very nice person. Always with a smile on his face. Hopefully, again, he'll be named. Hey, silver lining, in other words, bad season record-wise. If Trey Jones can win that award, we kind of know that Wemby's going to be a lock for the Rookie of the Year award. But let's add up some hardware to put a silver lining on this otherwise down season. In other Spurs news, coming soon. Get ready, clear your shelves if you're a Funko Pop collector. It has been leaked that Wembanyama is going to get his own Funko Pop figure. For those of y'all who do not know what they are, and think by now you should. They're like those little mini bobbleheads. Well, this is going to be part of the NBA basketball series line that Funko Pop is doing. Like for example, Jaylen Brown is going to be on it. I think Jimmy Butler's on it, and Wemby will be in the line. Now, pictures of the Wemby Pop has not come out yet, but he will be number 174 in the series, the NBA series. So yeah, coming soon. He joined the likes of the past Spurs. Just Spurs. You have Robinson, who got one. He was in his Team USA jersey. Iceman Gervin, doing the finger roll. TD sitting on a throne of ice. Who else has been there? Kawhi Leonard. Technically, he was a Spur when he got his first Funko Pop. And even the Coyote has been Funko Popped. So yeah, that's going to be a cool collector item to get. And I suspect a lot of Spurs are going to be rushing to the stores or ordering online once they announce that it is ready to be bought. In other Spurs news, there will be a new basketball court coming soon to the Spurs' old stomping grounds, Hemisphere Park. Now, for those who don't know, when the Spurs made their way to from Dallas to San Antonio, then from the ABA to NBA, they played in Hemisphere Arena. This was located in downtown San Antonio. Yeah, they actually had a downtown basketball court in the back of the day, everybody. And, that's been long demolished. Well, they're going to be, Hemisphere Park organization, along with Spurs Give and the McCombs family, Red McCombs family, they donated some money and a lot of money to put up a future outdoor covered basketball court. And it's only going to be 100 steps away from the old footprint of the Hemisphere Arena. So it is massive. The renderings, there's just the covered area. Now, this is my theory. The renderings of it, they show the roof of the outside, the covered part of the outside of the court in a certain type of orange hue. Well, if that's the same color that I think it is, because back in the Old Hemisphere Arena, there used to be ramps that you would take to get to your seat, and they were covered in a basketball orange color. The lobby of Hemisphere Arena, when I remember going there, they had an orange and a white color scheme, and that same orange was like kind of a shade of a basketball color. So it makes me think if they're using that old orange look to kind of tip their cap to the Hemisphere Arena color scheme. And basically, you would find that in the lobby area. You wouldn't find it once you get into the bowl, but that they had an orange and a white color scheme throughout the lobby. And like I said, the ramps. Yeah, you should take ramps to get to your seat. And they were steep, let me tell you. So it is coming in 2025. Again, if you haven't seen pictures of it, it is just amazing what it's going to look like. So that's going to be awesome to see. So thanks again to Spurs Give, the Hemisphere organization, the McCombs family for making it happen. By the way, nice touch too, putting it near where the old Hemisphere used to be, considering Red McCombs, for those who know, he was instrumental in bringing NBA basketball to the city of San Antonio and ABA basketball. So it is fitting that it is near the original Spurs home. All right, there's your quick Spurs news and notes. When we get back, we're going to bring in our guest, James Pledger of San Antonio Sports Star. We're going to be discussing what more does Wemby need to do to get that DPOY, and then discuss some of the Locked On Spurs fan comments. Hey, I want to talk to you about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over more than 3 million members. It is the easiest, most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more than or less than on 2 to more player stats, and you can start watching those winnings roll in. Now, they got it all at PrizePicks. I'm going to tell you just a few things they offer. It's going to make you want to run and get that app right now. They got quick withdrawals, easy game playing, an enormous selection of players and stat types that are sure to make PrizePicks, and it does make PrizePicks the #1 fantasy sports app. What else they got? Oh yeah, they got weekly promotions, special offers for the biggest moments in sports. What else do they got? Well, I'll tell you more what they got. They got Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this basketball season. And PrizePicks is the best way to get on the action in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. PrizePicks has something for every sports fan, from basketball to hockey to League of Legends. They got everything in between as well. So you got to get that app right now. Go download it, put it on your favorite mobile device, and have some fun this sporting year. Hey, go to PrizePicks.com right now, everybody. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. So again, download that app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Tony Stark. Wait, is that Tony Stark? Are we in the Stark layer? Oh, no, that's James Pledger of San Antonio Sports Star. Follow him on X at @IamPledger. He is the host of Extra Innings. And yes, just like me, James is a nerd. All right, so why is James here today? Well, if you haven't been listening to him, and you should be, on Extra Innings on San Antonio Sports Star, he's been a big advocate in pushing for Wemby to win DPOY. Now, look, we're going to make it very clear because we know how you guys can get. Yes, we know the numbers. Yes, we know what he's doing and how many more blocks and steals that he has and maybe Rudy Gobert or whatnot. We get that. But the point is that there's still some contention. There's still some debate. James probably say, what debate? That Wemby should not get it. So the question here, James, is what more does he have to do to prove to the voters, to the league, well, I guess more importantly, the voters, that he deserves this? The numbers are staggering, but yet he's still trying to trailing among voters. At least this when they publicly talk about it. I don't get it. What more does Wemby need to do, James?
To be honest, and there's a reason I started this campaign back in January, probably. I as far as I know, I was the first to kind of bring it into the conversation with the way that he had been playing and, just kind of looking at his stats and going, I know they're awful defensively, but let me dive into this. And then recently, like in February, kind of all-star break, I kind of started to hear other people starting to talk about it. And then, like, recently, it's starting to become a real thing to where you heard Draymond Green on his podcast very recently after his game. It was after the Nuggets game on Monday. He did a podcast because he had just played them in San Antonio, talking about his 9 blocks on the Nuggets and the reigning world champs. And he was like, he said, I was wrong. That dude's the defensive player of the year. And that's coming from a defensive specialist that plays right now. Ryan Russillo on the Bill Simmons podcast has been starting to really talk about it. So you're hearing people and also voters and especially people within the league start to talk about it. And hell, even Vegas, like, they've got him with the second best odds to win. Now, he is plus 2,000, so it is far and away behind. I believe he is the closest. It's either plus 1,500 or plus 2,000. Rudy Gobert is minus 3,000, which means you have to lay 3,000 to win $100.
Exactly.
Like, he is that far and away the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year, despite playing with other great defenders. And I want to say there's something he can do to change the narrative in these final handful of games. I want to say that this is something that he can solely affect, but if he hasn't affected it to this point, then I'm not sure there's something he can do, because it's a lot of people in the voting that are, you know, well, the team is awful defensively. That's not his fault. When he's on the floor, they are actually one of the best defensive teams in the league. It's when he's off, they are actually the absolute worst defensive team. So the numbers,
but that kind of like lends to the argument, right? Doesn't that lend to the argument?
It really should. But there is also a contingent, much like, and this was the crux of me even starting this debate these many months ago. I knew that there was going to be pushback against him winning because he's a rookie and quote unquote rookies can't win these awards, which is the stupidest freaking thing it is the epitome of old school stuck in my ways mentality of it's always been this way, so it should always be this way. No, just because we've done things wrong our entire life doesn't mean we should continue to do them wrong. It's mind-boggling, and it's a crusade of mine. It's like the people who are like, oh, we can't let anybody into the Hall of Fame unanimously in Major League Baseball because Babe Ruth didn't get in unanimously. No, I'm smart enough to know that this dude is an obvious Hall of Famer, and I'm not going to vote against him on the first ballot just because some dude in the 1920s screwed things up. That shouldn't affect today. Like, we need to separate the way things have been done versus the way things are done. Otherwise, we wouldn't have advancements in anything. We would still be on a rotary phone. You and I wouldn't be talking over Zoom right now because we've never done things this way. Like, get your head squarely from out of your backside and get with modern times. I'm smart enough and have a wherewithal with numbers now to understand that the Spurs are third in defensive rating with Wemby on the floor and dead last with him off. I am smart enough to know that he blocks more shots by a large number than anyone else in the game, and then is in the top 20 of steals, which is absurd for somebody who is a shot blocker. So when you take those numbers, and this is an actual stat, blocks plus steals, he is so far and away better than everybody else in the league that it's not even funny. And then when you hear other players and coaches talk about how good defensively he is, you need to, like, separate, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Rudy Gobert plays with 3 other all-NBA defenders. They're going to be better as a team defensively. But guess what? Defensive player of the year is not defensive team of the year. They are separate accolades. And the defensive player of the year is an individual award, and Wemby as an individual affects the game unlike anybody else in the league right now, and it's not even close. But my problem is, and it's the reason I started this campaign, is I believe there's such an old head mentality still controlling the votes. I'm not sure the Spurs could be number 1 in defense, and they'd be like, well, the entire team's number 1. How good of an effect could Wemby have? He's just a rookie. Yeah. Like, we can't give it to him because he's a rookie. Like, that's going to be a thing, and it's been the uphill narrative that I've tried to fight against this entire time. So, and long answer short, I'm not sure there's anything he could do, just because that's kind of the way a lot of the voters are set up right now.
I'm with you. I don't think there's more he can do. I think if anything, he's just going to push the argument stronger with whatever many, like 5, 6, 7 games left on the schedule. If he had hit that quad dub recently against Denver, I think that would have helped him. I mean, he was
was he 2 assists and a block away?
2 assists and a block away. He already had the steals, I believe.
He had
points,
steals, and he was 2 boxes away. He was two assists and one block.
Yeah. So I think little things like that can help him. I also think, again, it's like the argument for Gobert to win is counterintuitive to what the award is, because you hit it on the head. He has 2 quality defenders on his side. Wemby doesn't. So again, that just leads to the argument that Wemby should do it. Now, you mentioned Vegas right now, Pledger. The updated odds from the Caesar Sportsbook, Rudy Gobert is now a minus 4,000.
Oh, 4,000 now.
Yeah. Cool. And Victor is a plus 700. So there's that gap is widening. Yeah.
No, is it widening though? Because he went from plus 2,000 to plus 700. That's a big jump.
That's right. Yeah, he did make a big jump. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
I mean, Gobert jumped 2 in front of him, but Wemby closed the gap, because if he moved up about $1,300 and Gobert only jumped 1,000 up, like, he closed the gap by about 300.
Yeah. And going back to, again, are there other things that he can do other than, continuing doing what he's doing?
He averages 10 blocks a game on the way out.
But and I know, probably for a separate topic here or show, but the whole notion of resting him for the rest of the season, just shutting it down, that would impact him. Unless he's going to concede it. I mean, he kind of sort of has conceded it, in a joking way, saying, okay, Rudy, you're going to get this one, I'll get the next one, kind of thing. But other than that, no, I just don't think. Maybe his teammates can help out, pick up their defensive, stuff, on
but that's counterintuitive to the award. His team.
But I know. But if we're going to use that award that reasoning for Rudy Gobert, then screw it. Wemby's teammates help him out.
But I mean, we're so late in the game. I'm not even sure 5 games of his team helping him out would counteract the season long.
You think years from now, when we look back at the 2023-24 season and they look at the DPOY and they're like, how did Wemby not get it? I think that's going to be the reaction years from now. They're going to be were their voters that idiotic?
Maybe it's tough because especially with Wemby, you kind of have to dive deep into the analytics of how great he has singularly been. And the further you get out from things, the more kind of broad you look at things. So you'll see kind of how bad the team was as a total defensively and wonder why he was probably in it. And I think that's just us as a society. We the further we get out from things, we get really into the weeds close up when we're really close to it, but the further away we get from it, the broader of a scope we kind of look at things with. And I don't know if the further away we get that's going to, help his cause, and to be like, why, unless, we start getting more deep divey the older we get.
Do you think it will be considered a snub? Do you think when
this
the results come out, this year, you think it'll be a snub? I think it'll be a snub.
I still think it's a small contingent, just because we're in it here in San Antonio, right? We see a lot of Victor Wembanyama. We hear a lot of what is said about Victor Wembanyama. We're kind of all in on this. So we kind of see things in a more microscopic level than the outside periphery, where they it's broad stroked. Like I said, just a second ago when talking about it in retrospect, you look at things at a closer faction closer to it than you do further away, where you look at a broader, wide view. I think as the same goes, like here in San Antonio covering Wemby, we look at things in a more microscopic focus, where from the outside people look at a broader focus. And while I think there is the contingent, I think the majority just looks at the Spurs, sees that they are awful at defense and that he has some highlight-worthy plays. Right. And I don't think that they think that he's worthy, because they don't get really deep into it. They're looking at a more 30,000-foot view.
I still think years from now, I think the NBA fans of the future will be reacting like kind of how we do now. Like, how did Tim Duncan never get Defensive Player of the Year? It's baffling.
Yeah, that one's weird, but it kind of fits the narrative about San Antonio, which kind of off topic a little bit. Did you hear the Hoop Collective podcast this week with Brian Windhorst, where he talked about his time in San Antonio?
Yeah, that San Antonio wasn't that
very
bad.
Glowing thing said about a city that's not used to having such positive things said about it.
Yeah, so who knows? I'm with you, Pledge. I don't think there's much more he can do other than just show out. That's about to make the voters, really consider their vote for DPOY before the close
and that's
of the season.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, and then that's the only he can do right now. But I mean, look, I do agree, Wemby, he will win it. I mean, if he doesn't win in his career, that will be
a greater travesty than even Tim Duncan, probably.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so there you have it. That's our thoughts on what more can Wemby do to try to get that DPOY. Let Pledger know on X at @IamPledger. You let me know on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Speaking of the Locked On Spurs YouTube page, we're going to discuss you guys. What guys y'all talking about on the comment section over there. We're going to be picking up 2 of things that you guys are talking about coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. Everybody, I want to talk to you about LinkedIn Talent Solutions. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find a quality professional that fits right into the role fitted that you need to be filled. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Look, LinkedIn is not just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have a small and you just basically have quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or the resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They even launched a new feature that helps you write job descriptions and making the process easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Hey, I want to talk to you about Muslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. That's in the 281 to 1604 area if you're in San Antonio. Go there right now. They're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member serving the best coffee in San Antonio for all of San Antonio to enjoy. What else do they got? Oh, yeah, they got lattes. Check. You need a cold brew. Check. You need their signature drinks like the Alien or the Muslinger itself. check. They just we got mini donuts. They got mini donuts. They have it only at Muslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And again, friendly staff, great menu. They have, I mentioned the Wemby. That's the alien drink that they got there. It's in honor of Victor Wembanyama. And speaking of the alien, it's part of their Lightning Bolt series. So basically, they just want to give you a heads up. They're changing the recipe for the Lightning Bolts. They started using Lotus Energy instead of Red Bull. Now, Lotus has similar caffeine to Red Bull, but they got 7 power plant extracts that gives them more flexibility to create new drinks. But Red Bull will still be available if you want that. So get the Lightning Bolt series right now, which includes the alien in honor of Wembanyama, now made with Lotus Energy, combining a natural caffeine and powerful blends of 7 plant extracts. And the new and improved Lightning Bolt series will keep you powered up all day. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Follow them on social media at Muslinger SATX. Go there right now, San Antonio. They're open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And go there right now because life is too short for a bland coffee. And nope. You're seeing things correctly. That is Iron Man on your screen right there. He just goes by James Pledger. You see that's his secret identity is James Pledger of San Antonio Sports Star, the host of Extra Innings. He'll talk about that show in just a moment. Again, make sure to follow him on X at I am Pledger. And we are talking about you guys, the Locked On Spurs fans, and you guys are leaving a lot of comments. There's too many to read. I wish James and I can stay here all night and all day reading every single one, but we can't. We could, but yeah. So we'll figure a way to nerd out on that stuff. But let's go and dive into this. So the first comment, James, is from Rez. He says, I think the Spurs should definitely shut Wemby down for the season to prevent injury. So he's reacting to a recent Locked On Spurs about shutting Wemby down, considering the season's all but over. Where do you stand on that? To shut him down, considering his jam-packed summer, or let him play until the season's over?
I mean, I'm pro for whatever Wemby wants to do.
Okay.
And go do you. You've already hit your mile markers in terms of DPOY consideration and Rookie of the Year and all that great stuff. So it's kind of up to him. I want to keep him happy, but at the same time, I have been pro let him do what he wants and let him play if he wants to play. But on my show, I think Tuesday, I kind of maybe did an about face Michael Jimenez flip-flop in a way because that game against the Nuggets late with about 3:32 left in it, he took a fall and he landed on his hip and got up and kind of grabbed it and started limping. I was like, after what had happened to Devin and Jeremy, and I was like, that's it. I'm done. I've seen enough.
And then Osman got hurt in that game too.
He did.
Osman got,
and he hasn't been back since. So, and Kelvin's been out. So at that point, I was like, all right, I'm good. Let's not tempt fate. That's how fragile it is. But at the same time, that can happen at any point in time. So I'm pro Wemby, do you. It's hard to put a player in bubble wrap. That can happen when he is literally in a free run in a gym, which we all know these players, because they have to work on their game, will be doing stuff in the off season. So it is what it is. Play, don't play, whatever makes you feel best, Wemby. My concern is the heavy load you have this summer with France basketball.
I'm pro call it a day already, for the season. You did all you can do. You broke the records. DPOYs, we just talked about, likely is not going to happen. Why don't you shelve yourself? Look, I know it's just a handful of games, but I'll rather take a couple weeks off versus added more weeks to his heavy load. I mean, think about this, James. If he does play the rest of the season, there's that set of games. Then there's travel to France. Then there's training camp with Team France. Then there's exhibition or friendlies, they call them, with Team France. Then the tournament starts in France. And then not to mention all the side things he's going to do, the appearances.
Well, and let's not forget, before the tournament, it's group play, then tournament play. So you've got all of these steps, and then training camp again with the Spurs. And let's not forget, while most regular prospects coming into the league take a lot of time off to get ready for the combine and the draft, and they haven't played since, like, if they're lucky, they played into the championship game, they're done first weekend of April.
Right.
That's not Wemby. Wemby played until literally a few days before the draft. He was in the championship game of his EuroLeague, went straight from that to the draft, to Spurs.
And then he went back.
To training camp. Yeah. He has been on the grind for well over, by the time this is over, a year straight with no break. And so, I understand the shut him down part, but there is one thing I know greater than anything. A person, a player, a athlete, you and I, we know our bodies better than anyone else. So the whole how much we can kind of push it where it's at, how much more I can really kind of exert, only the player really kind of knows that. The medical team can look at records and stuff, but a player knows his own body better than anybody.
Absolutely. All right. The next comment is from Grant Robinson. He's talking about what we were just talking about right now.
What up, Grant?
DPOY. He says, Grant Robinson says, you probably kill his chances for DPOY if you shut him down. Thank you, Grant, for that comment. And I guess, sure. But at this point, dare we say it's a wrap for Gobert? He has it.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it because stranger things have happened. Vegas, they make money, and trust me, I'm sure there's a lot of money probably going towards Gobert because that feels like a wrap. Stranger things have happened. There have been a lot of people as vocal as I am that have taken a deep dive into the numbers, and maybe that has an effect on voters late in the season as they kind of try to ingest as much as they can about the season, and it has an effect late. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to write him off for it. And him playing the rest of the way down the stretch definitely has an effect. So, because you have a 9-block game like you did on Joker and the Nuggets. You show out. Remember, the last time he played Embiid dropped 74 on him or whatever. What if he holds Embiid to 23 and has 8 blocks?
And he still has to play Joker again. There's one more meeting with Joker. So
there's another meeting with Joker. He gets a game against the Pistons. What if he puts 15 blocks up or something that game? There are weird things, circumstances. The last resonating thing is maybe a quadruple double against Detroit.
And it'll have to be with
voters on the way out.
And that'll have to be with, in my opinion, blocks and steals. If he's going to do a quad dub, it's going to have to be blocks and steals.
Absolutely. It is points, assists, blocks, steals. That's his quad dub. That's the box that is going to get people to go, whoa.
By the way, I'm actually surprised that he hasn't dropped one yet. I had him penciled in for one in his rookie season, at least one. And I thought I was going to be right against that, against Joker and the Nuggets recently. But I'm going to go out there, not too far out on the limb, to say I think he's going to be the first NBA player to record multiple quad dubs before it's all over.
I could easily see that. He's so freakish. His game is unlike anything any of us have ever seen. He is a mix of Kevin Durant, Rudy Gobert, and Giannis. But there's also some guard play in him. It's ridiculous between the offensive and defensive sides, the amount of things that he can do so incredibly well. It's unheard of. He's an NBA 2K creative player.
No, he is. You know what? Speaking of NBA 2K League, I spoke to NBA 2K League player ahead of Wemby's rookie season. He said he tried to create Wemby on NBA 2K League and he couldn't. He wouldn't let him. even though it's factual that there is a player that exists out there and the computer should allow it because Wemby exists, but they didn't let him do it. So that's just crazy. By the way, I also think he also has a dash of D-Rob on his game. So
100. I think if we're comparing him to somebody, like that is the closest comparison in terms of his ability / athleticism. Like David, people forget because late in his career, like the back injuries and everything took its toll. But like when he was young, that dude was touched the top of the box, like freaky athletic.
And I know a lot of people
a little bit before his time in that fact.
Yeah, he was way ahead of his time. Also, too, I know a lot of Spurs fans that maybe saw the trail end of his career, like right in the beginning of the golden era. So that would have been Robinson's already decline. You forget that in his rookie year till his peak, he used to dunk on people. I know there was a lot of people would say something like, "Oh, he's just laying it up. He's just laying it up." No. Look at his early years. It
wasn't just that he dunked. It was the way he dunked. It was disrespectful. Like,
it was
back to the shoulder blades, throw it down, dunk. Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was insane. And hopefully Wemby will do that and a lot more, which I think he will as his career progresses. He is James Pledger of San Antonio Sports Star. Tell us about Extra Innings, the Star, all that good stuff.
Well, we're keeping everything covered at the Star, starting early at 6 a.m. with RJ and Rob on the Morning Huddle. And then, of course, the show that I produce in afternoons, The Blitz with Jason and Joe. And then we have Extra Innings with Pledger from 6 to 7 weeknights. That is myself as I kind of get us caught up on the day's events and kind of get the last word in on everything and give my take, my perspective, my views on everything, including things like Wemby should be the Defensive Player of the Year. We shouldn't be having this big of a debate. The numbers speak for themselves, but I am trying to call out the old, stagnant, stale way of thinking and bring in a fresh, new, youthful, kind of wide-eyed perspective of things and the way things should be done. Remember, there was a time in the not so distant future or past, I mean, where there were people saying Golden State will never win a title. You can't win playing that kind of basketball, taking shots from the outside like that. You have to be able to go inside and win. That's the way the NBA is now played in its entirety. There is called evolution to a game. And Daryl Morey was ahead of his time with it. Golden State just perfected it with a cheat code of a player in Steph Curry. But the Spurs now have said cheat code of a player and Victor Wembanyama. We'll have to see where they go from here because I'm going to be talking about it until it happens with free agency and the draft. How do the Spurs fans want to build this team moving forward? What is your dream scenario? Do you want to trade for Trae Young? Do you want to go get kind of a pass first point guard that still puts up 20 points a game like Darius Garland in Cleveland? Do you want to save those draft picks and draft and continue to develop the way the Spurs trust Pop and the organization and the way they're going about things? Do you want to take a big swing at a free agent in a couple of years that could possibly come open? Those are all huge, huge question marks. Drew Holiday this upcoming offseason, Tobias Harris. Those are a couple of my favorite veteran free agents that I think would fit very well. Those are questions that I like to ask the fans, and I am completely interactive in terms of in-show interaction on YouTube at sasportstar.com, your phone calls, your tweets, or posts on X. Like, I 100% want to be fan involved. I want your input, and I want to react to your input. That's the great thing about Extra Innings with Pledger is I am 100% completely fan interactive.
He is James Pledger, San Antonio Sports Star. Follow him on X at @IamPledger. We'll be back tomorrow as the Spurs season winds down. We're discussing all things silver and black. You can let us know what you think on the YouTube page and subscribe on Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Just look for Locked On Spurs wherever you find your favorite podcast. So for James Iron Man Pledger, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.